بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. We greet you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and with Ramadan Kareem. It is today the 6th day of the blessed month of Ramadan for those like myself who began fasting on Yawmul Ahad. And the juz of the Quran for recitation for today is Suratul A'raf. Yesterday we spoke about methodology for study of the Quran, not recitation of the Quran, study of the Quran, and we advise you to look at our book which we are now renaming the Quran and the Stars, Methodology for Study of the Quran, because we spoke to you about the ayah of Naskh, which is in Surah Al-Baqarah. Let me repeat the ayah for you, or the verse. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها. We do not cause any ayah to be changed, to be abrogated, to be cancelled, or, I forgot this yesterday, to be forgotten, but that we replace it with that which is better or similar. And this is known as the ayah of naskh, or abrogation or cancellation. Let me remind you, you are the beginners, but even the learned ones can benefit from being reminded that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appointed Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam to teach the Quran. He is the final authority of anyone who teaches the Quran. And if any verse of the Quran was ever cancelled or abrogated or, listen, or forgotten, cancelled or abrogated or, listen, forgotten, and was replaced by any other verse, then it is the duty of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to inform us of that. He has never informed us of any such thing. And my teacher of blessed memory has explained this verse to mean that previous revelations which were sent down before the Quran, like the revelation to fast from sunset to sunset, were changed, were abrogated, were cancelled and replaced by new revelations, for example, to fast from dawn to sunset. But this is a cancellation for this ummah, not for that ummah. So if Allah's Messenger has never said that any verse of the Quran was ever cancelled or abrogated or, listen, or forgotten, and someone comes to tell you, no, this verse cancels that verse, tell him on Judgment Day he will have to stand before Allah and to defend what he has said about the word of Allah, because no verse of the Quran has been cancelled. No matter how many they are, they will be a pathetic spectacle on Judgment Day when they have to explain on Judgment Day their statement that this verse of the Quran or that one has been cancelled or abrogated and replaced by any other. And where is the evidence? Only their imagination, their faulty rational thinking. That is the lesson we gave yesterday. No verse of the Quran was ever forgotten. That's nonsense, yeah. And so we spoke to you about the ayah of Naskh yesterday, and we also spoke about the two kinds of verses in the Quran. Let us repeat it one more time, because it's so important that there are verses, there are only two kinds of verses in the Quran, not three, only two. The first is ayat muhkamat, verses which are plain and clear, no room for ambiguity, no room for interpreting and so on, plain and clear. And these are the ayat muhkamat. And what is their status? The status of the ayah muhkama is that it is Ummul Kitab, the very heart and substance of the book. The other verse, the ayah mutashabiha, does not have that status as the ayah muhkama. So you must always give primary attention to the ayah muhkama, because this is the heart of the Quran. And in attempting to interpret an ayah mutashabiha, you have recognized that it has only become necessary to recognize an ayah as mutashabiha only when it cannot be understood plain and clear. It is only at that time and not before that you have the freedom to now recognize a verse as ayah mutashabiha. So don't make a fool of yourself to go and take an ayah muhkama and make it an ayah mutashabiha to fulfill your own fancy footwork. The ayah muhkama has a higher status than the ayah mutashabiha. And the ayah mutashabiha, the interpretation can be confirmed only by Allah, because only He knows the meaning, the interpretation. And yet, yes, we have a duty to struggle to try to understand the ayah mutashabiha. But this is reserved for those who are firmly grounded in knowledge and who receive from Allah nur, because it is with nur, with insight, that you're able to understand an ayah mutashabiha. And when you offer an interpretation of an ayah mutashabiha, you do not do it with boxing gloves. That's foolishness. You do not divide the Muslims over an ayah mutashabiha, because only Allah can confirm the meaning. You say Allah knows best. But if your interpretation is correct, even if you are a solitary voice, no one ever said it before you, if your interpretation is correct, let your heart be at ease, regardless of all the critics, because your interpretation will constitute truth, and truth will survive despite all the critics. But if you make an effort to interpret and your interpretation is wrong, as has happened to me once or twice, you will still get the blessings for having made the effort to interpret the Quran. But since your interpretation was wrong, tomorrow it'll go down the river and it'll be forgotten. So if there is a verse of the Quran that you choose to recite in this way, this is your choice. بَعْدَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. And he, Nabi Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, he is the knowledge of the hour. This is muhkama. This is plain and clear, that he is the knowledge of the hour. What right do you have to now take an ayah muhkama and make it and change it into an ayah mutashabiha, and to then declare that when the verse said, he is the knowledge of the hour, what the verse meant was that he is a sign of the last hour. His return is a sign of the last. You have taken an ayah muhkama and transformed it into an ayah mutashabiha, whereas the muhkama, ayah muhkama, belongs to Ummul Kitab. Don't you fear what's going to happen to you for being so reckless with the Quran? If you recite the Quran the way I recite it, it's the same Quran, but a difference in the tashkil. And I recite it, وَإِنَّهُ لَعَلَمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. It is also an ayah muhkama, But I don't have to go running after any ta'wil or interpretation, because the ayah is plain and clear. So let me warn you, so that on Judgment Day you cannot claim ignorance. You have no right to transform an ayah muhkama into an ayah mutashabiha, whereas this is Kitab and that is not. This is my comment to you on what I did yesterday. Finally, I have been receiving emails. Sheikh, where in the Quran does Allah say that He taught Jesus, Nabi Isa, He taught him the Quran? Sheikh, we never heard about this before. Yes, the school boys, the ones who are beginners, they never heard it before, and they want me to provide the proof. Well, in I think it is Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu explains how He sent the angel Gabriel, Jibreel alayhi salam, to Maryam to inform her that she's going to have a baby boy. The angel went on to tell her many more things, that this baby boy is going to be the Messiah. The angel went on to say that this baby, وَيُكَلِّمُ النَّاسَ فِي الْمَهْدِ وَكَهْلًا, this baby will speak miraculously so from the cradle, and therefore this baby will also speak miraculously so as an adult. The only way an adult can speak miraculously, because all adults speak, is because he's going to come back and then speak to the world again. But then the angel went on to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will teach this baby, وَيُعَلِّمُهُ الْكِتَابِ, Allah will teach him the kitab, wal-hikmah, and Allah will give him hikmah, or wisdom, wat-tawrata wal-injil, and Allah will teach him the Torah, and Allah will teach him the gospel. And then in Surah Al-Ma'idah, when Allah speaks to Nabi Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, on Judgment Day, He will ask him, did I not do this and do that for you? وَإِذْ عَلَّمْتُكَ الْكِتَابِ, did I not teach you the kitab? وَالْحِكْمَةِ, did I not give you wisdom? وَالتَّوْرَاةَ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ, and did I not teach you the Torah and the Gospel? Twice in the Quran. What kitab is it that Allah spoke and taught to Nabi Isa alayhi salam? What kitab? You must go to the Quran to explain the Quran. Tafsirul Quran bil Quran. And here it is in Surah what is it? Surah Ali Imran, and at the beginning of Surah Ali Imran, it is the second verse. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ونزلنا عليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل. And He sent down to you, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, the kitab. And He also sent down the Torah and the Injil, the Gospel, min qablu, before this. What book was sent down to Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, in addition to the Torah and the Gospel which was sent down before? Answer is the Quran. So the Quran is explaining the Quran. That when Allah taught Nabi Isa alayhi salam the kitab here is the Quran. You just have to do a little bit of homework. So here are the two verses of the Quran which tell us that Allah taught Nabi Isa alayhi salam. He taught him the Quran, and He gave him wisdom, and He taught him the Torah and the Gospel, indicating that when he returns, this is proof that he will return, that when he returns as the supreme teacher of the Torah and Gospel for his ummah, and of the Quran for this ummah and for all of mankind. And because there are two sharia, two sacred laws, one for this ummah, one for that one, he has to be the supreme lawgiver, the supreme authority, legal authority rather, and he has to navigate between the two ummahs and the three books And that's not easy. And so Allah gave him wisdom. This is enough for today. Here is the proof that Allah taught Jesus, Nabi Isa, taught him the Quran. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.